Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Good afternoon, Faces families. Welcome back to another Faces Friday. As many of you know, well, as some of you know, I should say, Faces for Autism is a proud and has been a proud supporter of the New Jersey Special Olympics program. For many years, the Special Olympics have given children regardless of their ability or disability, or I should say, or different ability,
Mhm.
the joy of playing sports such as bowling, soccer, baseball, and many other sports. Not football yet, I believe. Here to share his experiences coaching the Special Olympics in Pittman, New Jersey. Please welcome Randy Van Alsten. Randy, thank you once again for
Woo! No.
coming back up. So, as I said, please tell us about. Well, let's take a step back. How did you get involved with Special Olympics or SO as it's
So,
so? Yes, how'd you get
so, well,
so?
Jacob, thanks for inviting me back, and allowing me to be a part of this. It's a great honor and a privilege to any time to meet with you because you're the man. So if you don't know Jacob, y'all got to know Jacob. That's first off, he's the man with the master plan.
The man with the man.
Um,
Thank you.
so how I got started with Special Olympics was about a year, no, 8 months ago. We adopted our son, Jaden. He'd been living with us since the end of June 2022, and he is a child that is on the spectrum, has ADHD, and lots of trauma growing up, spending years in foster care in Texas. Um, and we knew that he should be involved in sports of some sort. So we found in Washington Township what's called the Challenger League. And it was a weekly thing for soccer, which I'm a huge fan of soccer. I love soccer. I grew up playing it. Um, so when my wife found the Washington Township Challenger League, she signed Jaden and I'm up for that. And so the first time we went, he was 9 at the time. And so he was put with the elementary school kids, which was only a handful of kids that age that were there. It was the first hour of practice, and then the second hour and a half was for older kids. But Jaden is a big kid. He's tall for his age, and so when he showed up last year to the first practice, he towered the other kids that were there that day, like head over shoulders kind of thing. And he just kind of dominated. It was, I guess, in a way, I would say he was too advanced for that group. Maybe the kids had different abilities, as you said, and it wasn't a good fit for him. And so the coach said, "Oh, you can stay for the second time." And so I don't remember if we stayed that night or the following week. We decided just to go to that one or the other. And it was with like middle school and high school kids, which he just fit right in. He was smallest, but it was people that he could look up to, older kids that would respect him, which was great because he hadn't had that before. Um, but it was a weekly thing for like 2 months or so. So they would start and it would just be a couple drills, learning some of the fundamentals of the game, running and dribbling and shooting the ball. Because every kid that plays soccer, no matter how old, no matter what their ability, everybody wants to shoot the ball. And so, of course, there's drills to shoot the ball, and they end every practice with a scrimmage. Half the kids get, or half the players get pennies, and the other half don't. So it was great. And they said, "Oh, we wish Jaden would have been here sooner. He could have been part of our Special Olympics team." So one Saturday we went and watched their team play, the Township Tornadoes. They play at Riverwinds in Deptford, West Deptford, I think it is. So it's right on the Delaware River. Really cool spot. And we liked the game. And so by the end of the season, they're like, Jaden's going to play for us next year. So make sure you sign him up. And then, like, Randy, we want you to coach. So they've had two men that had coached for years. The Township Tornadoes have been around. I think this was their 8th season. And these two gentlemen that were the two head coaches have coached the whole time that they've been around, but they've done the Challenger League part for over 25 years. So they know that part, but neither one of them played soccer. They're a little bit older, so they might not have had soccer balls when they were kids. They probably just had rocks that they had to kick around. And I tell that to their face, so we get good laughs, a lot of laughs. But so they recruited me to help with some of the fundamentals of the game, to help with some techniques, and to really help teach the game some more. And then when I started this year, there was another guy that helped coach who would come periodically to practices and stuff as well. So it was great. That's kind of how I got started. I got recruited, and I'm just thankful I did. It's been a great pleasure to coach these players.
Yeah, and as I've heard, and as you'll learn, Special Olympics becomes a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really does. It was a great experience this whole season. I think one of the most rewarding parts of it, even before the season began, over the summer, they reached out to Tina, because that's whose info they had, about Jaden coming over to play soccer at one of the guys' houses. And so they played soccer in the backyard, then they hung out, and then one of the families was members of the same lake that we went to. And so the team would be there, part of the team would be there some of the time. And then so they would all go disappear and play soccer together. And Jaden is the youngest on the team. I think the closest is 5 or 6 years. I think Riot is about 15 or 16. Other than that, I think there might be one other player. There's 10 players on the team. That's the most you can have. Most of the other players are in their 20s or early 30s. So there's a big age gap. But it's almost like having a bunch of big brothers for Jaden. It's really great for him. They're a source of encouragement and support, which has been really good for him. As I mentioned earlier, he didn't really have good experiences. Where he came from, the last place he was living was a group home, and the boys were kind of like cutthroat with each other. And so that's what he was used to. So being able to be part of a team that really does encourage you, kind of acts like your family. They look out for you. If something happens during practice, they're there. They'll be the ones that lift you up. And it's just really neat to see. And then the parents and we all get along. We make jokes, and I make fun of the head coach quite a bit. That's my role in the team, really, besides teaching soccer. And so the parents kind of laugh at all my jokes about him.
So not only are you the coach, but you're the team jokester.
Yeah, jokester, jester, I don't know, whatever you want to call me, but I'm not putting any hat on this head.
in teaching the fundamentals of sports is so key, because you don't know what the kid may enjoy. As the saying goes, you don't knock it till you try it. And
Yep.
and it really opens up a world of endless possibility you may have never known you had.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that's why Even before Special Olympics, I think a lot of, from what I can gather, a lot of these um, teams develop out of like the Challenger League or groups that play together ahead of time at other. That's why I think that the Challenger League was so key for Jaden to get started. And I know that they're like, it's like I think it's national having these Challenger Leagues all over, and it's a great first step before just jumping into the commitment of Special Olympics. And I think, like you said, learning the fundamentals, and then, wow, I really do enjoy this. I do want to play this more often. I want to really learn more, and I grow as a player.
Yeah, and Special Olympics has so much to offer, as I said.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many sports they had.
And they're not just in the our great state of New Jersey. They're everywhere. They're, I believe, in most of the 50 states.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
If if parents are skeptical doing Special Olympics, what would you tell them?
I mean, it's a great experience. If you're skeptical for the part of will my child enjoy it, or um, is my child good enough? Um, like there's many questions. As parents, we always ask questions. What's going to happen? As already stated, first of all, it's such an encouraging and supportive group. I watched many teams this weekend that rallied around their players, that really held each other up. Coaches that worked alongside. I mean, these coaches pour themselves in the teams and just really are there to support their kids as well. And the great thing is that there's different divisions, so they break it up for New Jersey. For soccer, there was 12 divisions in our state, and so the first division was like the top teams, like the teams that like were amazing, and then it just kind of goes down to Division 12. So you split up. You're playing teams that are at your level. Maybe not during the 5 or 6 games during the season, but when you get to the tournament at the end, you're playing teams that are at your level. I think even during the year, they try to the 5 or 6 games you're supposed to play during the season, they try to keep it at the same level, so you're not getting crushed, because nobody likes to lose by a lot, right? I mean, it's not fun.
Not fun to lose in
Yeah,
general.
yeah, no, it's not at all. So they're very cognizant of that, and they really try to help connect teams that are at the same, that have the same experience or expertise or playing level. All so they play each other instead of like the cream of the crop playing with like the worst team, because that's never any fun.
Especially if you play the worst team out there, you more than likely cream them.
Yeah, yeah. And what I'll tell you is that it was neat for me, because I've not sure if some of you have seen the previous videos that I've been on for this, but I used to do job site training at my old cafe. And so it was really neat being at Special Olympics in South Jersey at Riverwinds. I don't know, it was probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I saw 2 former students who did job site training at the treehouse. And they're probably, I think they're in their late 20s now, maybe 30s. I'm not even sure. Um, but they still do Special Olympics as much as they can. So that shows you how much the players enjoy it. It's such a great environment. These two young men now just raved about Special Olympics and just talked about how much they really appreciate it and like it. And I could see their excitement as they went out to play. And I got to see him again this past weekend at the big state tournament. So it's really neat to some of these people have been playing for so many years. I talked to another player on Saturday that had played in the game before ours, and I just told him he had a great game. He's like, "Oh, I love it. I've been playing since I was like 8 years old or something." It was a young age he started. He's now, I think he said 32. So quite a few years. Um,
Yeah, 24 years. And you know, Special Olympics teaches you, as you said, Randy, it teaches you job readiness skills. It teaches you team playing skills that you'll need to go, get a job, do the necessary activities of daily living to lead a successful and youthful life.
yeah, it's true. I think you learn so much being a player. In sports, you learn about playing as a team. Because it doesn't matter if your team has one player that's good, you're not going to win with just one player that's good. You have to still work as a team. So it teaches that. It teaches how to develop yourself, how to improve yourself, which we all could use that skill, right? To not just settle. I mean, that's why we practice, because it's about trying to improve where we are. It teaches you sportsmanship, how to say good game at the end and shake hands and thank the refs for their time. So it's more than just playing on the field and having a great time. You do learn skills that will build you not just for today but for tomorrow. You really do develop as a person playing Special Olympics.
Exactly. And I want to touch on something you just mentioned in that last question. Nobody is paid through Special Olympics, it is solely a volunteer organization.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's great. They had so many volunteers there on Saturday doing so many different jobs to be a part of it. So it's great.
Yeah, I'll touch on that for a moment. What are some of the jobs that you saw people doing?
On Saturday, well, they had all the athletes and coaches got free lunch. So you had people working that line to make sure that everybody got their lunch. You had people that were there to register the teams. You had to go when you got there as the head coach, you went and you registered. And so you had people doing that. You had people lining up the teams at the end when they got their medals. You had referees, you had timekeepers, you even had announcers. I mean, the local level, they didn't have announcers every week or somebody that kept score on a little scoreboard. But at this one, because this was the States, I think they call it fall or something, fall tournament, or my coach always called it States. So they had a little scoreboard at every field. So somebody ran that, and there was an announcer who would announce all the kids and the coaches before every game. And then our announcer that we had, he was hilarious during the whole thing. He gave commentary during the game and remembered who the kids were. It was great. It was great support. There were people look like cleaning up and setting up, and there's a lot to set up and clean up at those events. So that's all different types of jobs that day that people were volunteering for. People had to collect stuff at the end. So it was just really neat.
Yeah, like I reiterated like I said in the beginning, and I'll reiterate it again. Special Olympics is a family.
Yeah, it really is.
And if you don't have that sense of family, an organization such as that can't run smoothly like it does, as it has, I should say, for so long. Randy, this will be the last question. If you could give anyone any advice as to why they should join Special Olympics, participate in the activities, coach, be a volunteer, anything I mentioned during today's interview, what would you tell them?
Ooh, that's a big question. I mean, you're making an impact. No matter what role you have, no matter what you do, if it's signing up your child to play in Special Olympics, no matter how old your child is, from a young age to an adult. You're making an impact on that child, and not just your child, but I'm sure the rest of the team, because each player plays an integral part. If you're coaching, you want to volunteer to coach. You can find different places near you to coach. Start a team. I'll tell you, I found out this weekend that since COVID, the number of teams in New Jersey has gone down quite dramatically. A lot of teams, Special Olympics, I believe, stopped during COVID, like many things, and they haven't been able to really start things up again. There was teams that I know that their support, whoever their sponsor was before, wasn't able to sponsor them anymore. And so they just did it themselves. It doesn't take much to really get a team off and running. So if you're in an area where there isn't a team, start a team, because the Special Olympics could really use a team, more teams to play any of these different sports. You want to find out other ways to volunteer. They're always looking for volunteers to help in different capacities. If it's being a ref, because all the refs are volunteers. I mean, it's fun. You'll get a kick out of it. You will really, really enjoy it. No matter what you do as a part of it. I can't tell you how many smiles I saw, and how much smiling I did myself every time, either on a Tuesday night when we practiced, or Saturday morning when we had games. It was great. So it'll be an impactor on your own life, and you'll definitely will impact the lives of others.
Yeah, and this is where I will leave this. That if you have one mission in life, leaving having an impact on if you have an impact on a differently able child at the end of the day, or any child, doesn't matter if they're differently able, adopted, whatever. If you leave a positive impact on the life of a child at the end of the day, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And that is where I will leave that. If you have if you would like any information regarding the Special Olympics, visit specialolympics.com, or Google the nearest Special Olympics branch in your area, because they are all over.
Yeah. You will find it.
Yes, you
You
will.
shall seek and you shall find.